Hello, I'm Will Yeoman, CEO of Writing WA, and welcome to a special edition of Pod Street, where today it's my great pleasure and delight to introduce the shortlisted authors, indeed winners, of the short story showcase of the theme Pride, featured throughout the month of November. The short story showcase is part of Changing the Conversation, Stories in All Spaces, and it's a 2024 to 25 project facilitated by Writing WA and generously funded by the State of Western Australia through the Department of Local Government, Sport and Cultural Industries. Our project partners include Raine Square and the State Library of WA. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce each author individually and get them to read their stories out, so you get to hear their stories in their voices. We're going to start with Sparks by Alice Macri. Alice lives near the beach with her husband and 2 cats. A passionate storyteller and avid reader, her love for writing flourished under the influence of her grandmother, Rosie, affectionately known as G, and their shared fondness of literature. Alice is studying creative writing at Curtin University.
Thank you, Will. So this is Sparks. We dance through the neon streets, hand in hand, our hearts pounding to the beat of the parade music. Glitter settles in our hair like undiscovered constellations. I shout an apology over the baseline for my sweaty palms. You laugh, eyes bright, framed in a halo of pink and blue eyeshadow. Your fingers tighten around mine, pulling me through the throng of bodies. I'll follow you anywhere. Later, under strobing rainbow lights, you draw me close with gentle hands and cherry lips. In the electric night, you feel like a spark, and I, alive and weightless, am set alight.
Next we have Brittany Lee with A Sisyphean Task. Brittany is a writer and editor of the speculative fiction publication Banksia Journal. Find it at banksiajournal.com. Her work has appeared in Antipodean SF and Dusty Attic Publishing. In her spare time, she enjoys reading, knitting, and spending time with her dogs.
Thank you, Will. This is A Sisyphean Task. Never would have guessed, he said. We're behind the bakery counter. It's the lull of early afternoon. Lunch rush over, and after-school crowd still an hour off. He's feeding loaves through the slicer, while I'm sweeping up crumbs. Again, a Sisyphean task. Can you guess my sexuality, I ask? Nonchalant. Desperately trying for nonchalant. He can't. I'm asexual, I say. Definitely calm. There's no reason not to be. Oh, what's that? He asks. Not attracted to anyone, I say. Huh, cool, he says, bagging up another loaf of sliced bread. Yeah, cool. Why wouldn't it be? I keep sweeping. My hands shake.
Okay, next up we've got Ellie Cottrell. Ellie is a writer and poet working on Whadjuk Noongar country. She has been featured in Hooligan Street Poetry, Stylus Lit, Poetry de More, Creatrix, and the anthology Ourselves, 100 Micro-Memoirs, published by Night Parrot Press. Ellie released her first poetry collection, Speakeasy, via In Case of Emergency Press in 2023. And here she is with There's Been Complaints.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry, the barista said, discomfort etched on his face. There's been complaints. Can you please stop that? Stop kissing, he meant. We were in a thrumming late-night coffee shop, the kind that doesn't exist anymore. Bright lights, posters on the walls, pool table against my back as we cooed and caressed like doves. At 18, I'd kiss boys in rain-slicked beer gardens, in cinemas and parks. There were never any complaints before her. While I knew he was only the messenger, I kept the message he delivered like kindling. It took me a decade, more, to burn it.
Now we have the 15th of November 2017 by Graeme Watson. Graeme is the co-editor of Out in Perth and a radio presenter at RTR FM.
Thanks, Will. 15th of November 2017. Months ago, I wouldn't have been able to tell you where a post office box was. Now I knew where they all were. We'd prepared the initial news reports, one for yes, another for no. At 7:30am we found out, yes, 61.6%. Publish the yes story, delete the other. I went downstairs for a moment and hugged people. It was overwhelming. Back to it, more stories to publish. We worked for hours, report after report. At 2 p.m. we were done. Lee asked how I felt. I burst into tears, exhausted but proud.
Josh Radwell is a writer from Boulder. His debut novella, Nolan's Hunger, is a story about possible vampires and bloodlust and the lengths we go to for the people we love. He works as a bookseller and hopes to one day work in publishing. He loves dogs and Lady Gaga. Here is his story, On Their Anniversary.
Thank you, Will. On their anniversary, they held hands in public, fingers interwoven, elbows touching, side by side. The city was full of raucous voices and glaring eyes. If they weren't mistaken for brothers, horrendous they looked nothing alike, they were noticed for who they were, and this garnered looks. They weren't always bad looks, sometimes they were kind, but looks were the last things they wanted. Looks made them let go and walk apart. Their gift to each other on their anniversary was to love openly with pride. The two men had held hands in the sunlight and did not let go. Looks be damned.
And last but not least, Scott-Patrick Mitchell with Love Mum. Scott-Patrick was the recipient of the 2022 Red Room Poetry Fellowship and the 2023 XYZ Prize for Innovation in Spoken Word. Their debut collection, Clean, published by Upswell Publishing 2022, was shortlisted for the Prime Minister's Literary Awards, the WA Premier's Book Awards and the Victorian Premier's Literary Awards.
Thanks. Thanks, Will. Love Mum. What am I doing? I just lied to Mum. She asked if I was going to Pride with Ben. I said no. We're going to watch a movie. Of course I'm going to Pride with Ben. And now I'm in the shower trying to figure out if I asked Ben to be my boyfriend before or after the parade. After? Yeah, after. I jump out the shower, pad down the hall, open my bedroom door, and there, on my bed, are two tiny handheld rainbow flags. The note beside them reads, "Have fun at Pride with Ben. Love, Mum."
Thank you so much to all our readers. And if you wanted to read them in print, you can read them outside the Writing WA office here at the State Library of Western Australia on the ground floor. You can also print them off at the Raine Square Story Dispenser. This has been Will Yeoman for Pod Street. Thank you for listening.